The world has seen way too many reboots of old TV shows and movies, long-awaited sequels for stories that didn't really need to happen, or bringing something back and telling the exact same story over and over again. The other day I saw something that personally struck me and made me question reality. I saw a trailer for a brand new movie that's coming on Paramount Plus, another subscription service where you have to pay $10 a month, but this was actually a movie of an old TV show I used to watch called The Thundermans. And The Thundermans was a TV show on Nickelodeon that came out 7 years ago. It's basically a family if they're all superheroes, and the show ended up wrapping up 5 years ago. The cast and crew had their final days on set, everybody's crying, the director's like, oh no, I don't know if I'm gonna get another job, it's all over. Well, I guess all that meant nothing because 7 years later, they're bringing back the show. It's a movie with the same actors, costumes, and just a reboot. Now, I don't want to throw a fuss and say that you can't bring back this Nickelodeon TV show and gatekeep it and say like, oh, it was so good, it ended off on the perfect note, because, you know, it's a kid's show, I'm not going to get too mad. And they're doing a movie, it's not an entire TV show, so it's only like an hour and 30 minutes, which isn't a big deal. And if anything, it can bring in new viewers to watch the old show, maybe some new kids never watch it. It's not the end of the world. Don't get me wrong, it was a good show and it had its moments. But if you're bringing back the Thundermans, you really must have gone down the barrel looking for things to bring back. I mean, you could have at least brought back Super Ninjas, the TV show that ended off on a cliffhanger and never got resolved 10 years later to this day. No, not 10, like 12 years. I still want answers. Why was the uncle evil? This show got canceled on a season with a cliffhanger and had everything going for it. John Krasinski was the main character's dad, he had the cliche Nickelodeon love story, it had a bunch of crime-fighting teenage ninjas. This show was perfect, and it's absolutely disgusting Nickelodeon canceled it and never gave a reason to this day. 12 years later, I want answers. What happened? Seeing the Thundermans get brought back really struck a nerve. It made me realize how many old TV shows and movies are being brought back. Out of thin air with no hesitation. Film studios are just seeing something going, oh, this came out 20 years ago? Perfect, let's reboot it. We can get a whole new cast, or we can bring back the old cast and re-release it. Nobody will notice. And it has gotten so exhausting. There's been a lot of successful classic reboots of old movies, and here they are. They work today, people go see them, they're pulling in a lot of money at the box office. I saw a picture on Instagram a couple years ago, and it was showing a billboard of a bunch of movies coming out in 2019, and it had something along the lines of waking up from a coma and not questioning what year it was because of all the same reboots of movies that are already going on and having long sequels. Because you had Toy Story 4, Men in Black 4, The Lion King, Spider-Man Far From Home, and another Fast and Furious movie. And let it just sink in that all these movies are sequels for franchises that have been going on for more than 10 years. The Terminator is still going on, we have a new Wonka movie, Scream, Aladdin, Space Jam, even Jack Harlow starting a reboot of an old movie. But out of everything this hurts the most, they're doing a reboot of The Office. They're not bringing back the old cast, but they're actually casting new people in it and everything, and it just got announced a couple months ago. But why? The show ended on a good note. I think most people are happy with it. What isn't getting a reboot? How many reboots have there been? How many movies or TV shows released in the last 5 years are reboots? And let me just say, I am exhausted from trying to find this answer. I went on Box Office Mojo so many times and went for a certain year and counted up all the movies on a list and saying, okay, that was a sequel, that was a sequel, that was a reboot, and getting a number just to look back and go, oh wait, there actually was a reboot for that and it was under a different name. Or even finding out how many reboots of a certain movie there have been. A Star is Born was made 4 times. I thought it was like 2 or something, but 4? You think you want to stop after 3 reboots? Nope, maybe they're going to do a 5th someday. Either way, there were a lot of layers to this. I didn't expect it to just be one Google search and go like, oh, how many reboots have there been? And just see a number and say, wow, there's been this many reboots. And it's just a really deep rabbit hole. It's like Pete Davidson's dating history. It's just never ending. So I decided to start off the year 2019, which was a really good year for movies, personally, in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot of good ones. And I went for the top 100 grossing movies on Box Office Mojo. And I counted through, and I went so many times, and this number may be off, I apologize. 48 out of 100 movies were reboots or long-awaited sequels for something more than 10 years. I mean, it's not that bad. For 48 movies, there's 52 new original movies and things that you can go watch. It's still pretty bad. It's almost 50%. And even those basic numbers I just gave you, they don't really mean anything. It's just the highest grossing movies. It doesn't include streaming services like Netflix and HBO. And we all know Netflix are the culprits when it comes to reboots. And I can't believe they're rebooting The Office. I thought we agreed as a society to never touch that. Let it be in the past. It had its moment. It blew up 10 years after it came again onto streaming services. Let it be. All good things must come to an end. But history does repeat itself. And I don't think it's a shocker to anyone why studios are rebooting things and not making original new ideas. And I have the perfect analogy for it. I don't care what MatPat says, this is way better. I want you to think of a restaurant, fast food place, or just somewhere where you get like a quick meal, quick munch. I don't know why I said that. Just food. And one thing is I love Panera Bread. And I think I've gone there way too many times. Like, I've spent way too much money on Panera Bread. It's actually an issue. And I get one of the two things. Either grilled cheese or a mac and cheese. And the reason is because it's like expensive to get grilled cheese. I mean, that cheese and bread, I should honestly just be making it at home like my mom says. It's also expensive to go to the movies. It's almost $20 now just to get a ticket. And don't even think about getting popcorn or candy or getting a soda because that's gonna add up. I don't want to waste my money on a movie ticket and be disappointed. And I don't want to waste my money at Panera and be disappointed. So you think that movie series that you watched in the past will be the better choice, and you go ahead and watch it and realize it's the same story and it's worse. They remade The Lion King a couple years ago as a live action one. It was the exact same story. I saw it at the drive-in because I was seeing Spider-Man and it played before, but I was really let down. Simba didn't have to die at the end. They just could have done something differently. Most people in life don't want to do something they're unfamiliar with or rarely want to go outside of their comfort zone. Recently I ended up watching a new movie though that was outside of my comfort zone. It sounds kind of weird to say, but it's just something I didn't know I'd want to watch. There was this new A24 movie that came out. It was called Dream Scenario. It had a really simple plot and premise. Everybody all of a sudden starts having dreams with the same person in them, who's Nick Cage. And this movie blew me away because it was so simple and it was brilliant how they dug deeper into the characters, the plot, and how the fame affected him personally and just talked a lot about society today. I'm not going to spoil the movie, but they did have TikTokers in it. It was a really good movie, and I'd even recommend you right now that you're like watching next time you're streaming something. And I'm glad I took that risk. I had to pay for this movie, it wasn't on Netflix or anything. Just because a movie's rebooted or they even bring back the old cast doesn't mean that thing is a failure and it's awful. I was trashing on The Office being brought back, but who knows, this reboot could actually be really good. They have the original director Greg Daniels who worked on Parks and Rec 2. One really good example I'm going to give is Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is a TV show that completely connects the Karate Kid. They did bring back the original cast, but they flipped the script and focused on the antagonist Johnny, who was the villain in the first one. There's no need to over-explain the show and tell you why it's great. I mean, sure, it can be a little corny at sometimes, but it's still a very good show and I enjoyed the revival of it. Ralph Macchio, the actor who plays Daniel LaRusso, the main character in the first one, he actually got a lot of offers to do reboots of Karate Kid, but he rejected a lot of them throughout his life and his Hollywood career. Cobra Kai was the only TV show he said where he agreed with the script and what they were trying to do. The show has been going on for a little bit too long, but they do have their final season. Even 21 Jump Street was a reboot of a TV show from the 80s, and look at what that turned into. It's one of the biggest high school comedy movies of all time. It can be rewatched from all these years later. Reboots can be good, and there's nothing wrong with using something that did work in the past. It's just when you serve us the same thing over and over again, it feels like a mousetrap by Hollywood studios that they're trying to get us in and be like, oh, I gotcha. Franchises that used to reign supreme are no longer on top. Stopping all reboots of TV shows and movies isn't gonna fix the film industry, it's just how deep down in the barrel do we really have to go? Thank you guys for 150 subscribers. I was just at 10 like a month ago. It's really shocking to see how fast things went. I really appreciate all the nice comments and everything, so thank you so much.